You're watching 7 Eyewitness News with Ed Dranch and Katie Moores, 7 First Alert meteorologist Mike Randall, and sports anchor Sean Stepner.
In the late 19th century, our proximity to the water put Buffalo on the map as a major international transportation hub. It should be no surprise that we're finally rediscovering our beginnings on the waterfront. In this week's Queen City Chronicles, Eddie Dobashevitz takes us inside a Civil War-era tavern sitting right on that crossroads.
Ethnic and cultural clashes were common occurrences back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, Buffalo's early history, but this one had a great ending. A story of a business surviving and thriving, and a story that involves helping sick kids along the way. This is the story of the Swannie House. Standing on the shore of the Buffalo River is a tavern founded by Gibson Williams and his partner John Swannie back in 1886. Serving sailors on one of the busiest ports in the world meant business was good, but unfortunately Williams's health wasn't. And in 1892, Gibson T. Williams passed on.
So when he passed on, his son and daughter, he was very wealthy, became philanthropists. And what they did is they sold the Swannie House and a hotel on Broadway to Swanierski's son, John Jr. So Junior came down here and he wanted to put a second and third floor on this place because it was only a one-story building. He couldn't get the permits to do that because the waterfront was controlled by the Irish. And they didn't want a Polish guy down here who owned a bar because all the hiring came out of the bars. So if a Polish guy owned a bar down here, then they'd have to compete.
The stalemate might have stopped this enterprise altogether if not for the fact that Swanierski's family controlled a liquor distribution company and basically cut off the entire area from procuring booze.
With the help of the Williamses, who had international influence, and they shut off the liquor from Canada. So the inner harbor went dry, the waterfront went dry. And the dispute lasted about 2 weeks. And the Irish agreed to give him the permits, but Swanierski had to change his name to Swannie. The two Williams children, the philanthropists, took the sales money from the Swannie House and from the hotel they sold to Swanierski's on Broadway in Maine, and they started Children's Hospital with it, which was one of the first children's hospitals in the nation.
You would think that being a part of Children's Hospital's birth would be a sufficient role in our area's history, but the Swannie House wasn't done yet.
This is when the Tewksbury hit the bridge across the street, which is directly across the street.
This is what the guy was drinking in here.
Actually, he was my mother's cousin. His name was Jim Conley. He was fun. He was fun. Yeah. But back then...
Wait, you glossed over that story.
No, actually, no, not really, not at all. Back then, the bridge, it was a full-time job, so they were there year-round. Yeah. But all the boats were moored there, and everything was iced up. So all they had to do was on the bridge. There was nothing to do. Of course, he meandered across the street, and he sat in my corner where I was sitting, and somebody ran in and said a boat broke loose. He tried to run out, and another guy grabbed him and says, "It's too late, Jim." Boom, the bridge went down, and here we were.
So much has happened here, it's almost as if you can see the entire history of Buffalo from the top of the Swannie House.
And over the years, it went into disrepair. Yeah. You know, and there's some question as to whether you can get title of it.
So while arenas, casinos, and major development happen in its shadow, what of the Swannie House?
We're just a gin mill, you know, and now we're a gin mill in an up-and-coming place, and I have no plans to change anything. The way we do it is the way we do it. It's a lot of great stories in this town. This is just one of them. For Eyewitness News, I'm Eddie Dobashevitz, and these are the Queen City Chronicles.
Great story. Thanks, Eddie. Well, millions